no idea what this is about. Cool.
Read the consent form.
Consent is important, Ricky.
Wanna read them? Where did I go?
Problem. Like if I go like this, it's comfortable, but it looks weird. If I go like this.
All white men are thieves and drug addicts.
It's just a generalization. You shouldn't automatically assume if someone's a white man that they're a thief and a drug addict, because that's just untrue.
It's just weird looking at it saying all white men, because usually you'll see like the word black instead of white. Like so all black men are thieves and drug addicts, so it's just different seeing like white men.
When you search crack into Google, you see pictures of white men with shaved heads who like itching their skin a lot. The thieves part makes me kind of chuckle a little bit because I've never heard it, but the drug addict one I don't like per se.
I guess there's always this stereotype with this certain guy who knows the hookups to like maybe marijuana, and they always like picture this white dude instead of another race.
I don't know, I'm just so used to like, I never hear like white men are thieves and drug addicts, so it kind of makes me uncomfortable because it's like, now the roles are reversed, so I don't really know how to like react to it.
Can I get a different one?
All Asians are terrorists.
Well, we all know that's not true.
All Asians are terrorists. Hi. I'm Muslim or Arab, and a lot of people say I'm a terrorist. So it's funny to see that it's like switched to like Asians, because I've never heard that before.
I think anyone can be a terrorist, not just one specific race or culture, if that makes sense.
So how does this stereotype make you feel?
Angry.
Well, being called a terrorist sucks, because I'm probably the most nice person ever, and I really hate violence. I'm really against that. So being called a terrorist pisses me off.
All Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants. I've definitely heard this one before in the recent political events.
Okay, wow. I find this one actually more offensive than the previous one. This one kind of tickles me a little bit.
You can't say all Mexicans are. I know a lot of Mexicans and they're all citizens, so that's pretty dumb.
This is like a very barbaric statement, you know, something that I will never believe in.
I've never actually met an illegal Mexican. I've met people that came here and like got their green cards and stuff, but I've never actually met like an illegal immigrant in general. I definitely feel like that would be more common like down south near the border.
One of my closest friends is a Mexican, and she gets made fun of constantly for being a Mexican. Like, oh, you're illegal, all your family came here illegally. And I have another friend who actually is an illegal immigrant, but he's from Peru. But besides the point, people don't know that about him because he's not Mexican, he's Peruvian, and they think that, oh, if you're not from Mexico, you're legal, you came here the legal way. So I don't like this stereotype at all.
I mean, ever since Donald Trump, it's became really prevalent, and yeah, it's just, no one should really think that way.
Yeah.
Well, I will say politics, and I know he didn't say it in this way, but our president, like, I think he just have this mindset that all Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants.
Honestly, it's a little sad because I definitely feel like Mexicans are more prone to be like, oh, you're illegal, like go back to where you came from, but that's not the case most of the time.
My parents are immigrants, and you know, like getting to this country is kind of tough. Like you gotta go through a lot of visa processes and whatnot. And saying that all Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants is kind of rude, because it's tough. Like it's tough to get into America with like legal citizenship, and even then, it's tough to like stay in here as well.
Do you believe stereotypes are ingrained in our culture?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I know a lot of people who think certain ways, and I find myself kind of stereotyping people sometimes, which isn't a good thing, but it's been so like engraved in our minds that it's the first thing that really pops into our mind when we see people for the first time or when we meet someone.
If you look at someone, you kind of automatically assume something without trying to. It just kind of happens. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's not bad if you don't act on your stereotype, but if you do act on your stereotype, then it's a completely different situation.
It's definitely how you're raised, and I feel like obviously as we get older, like we don't believe in them as much, but from our parents and our grandparents who were obviously raised to be more like racist than we are, they believe in a lot of stereotypes. So it's kind of just been passed down along the generations.
It's up to you on your own to whether or not you want to fight against those stereotypes or you want to believe what they say and go along with them.
You hear them constantly everywhere, right?
Yeah.
As you've been telling us before. Where exactly have you heard certain stereotypes?
There's a lot of hateful people on the internet where, let's say, someone just called me a terrorist, or someone says something ignorant like go back to like Pakistan or something. Like I'm not even from Pakistan, and I don't know. I mean, it used to bother me when I was like a emotional little kid, but I've grown up.
All of these stereotypes that you've read, do all of them make sense, or are all of them in a sense true, or are some of them mixed up?
No, some of them were mixed up.
Have you heard of all of them before?
Not all of them, but some of them, yes.
So all Asians are terrorists. No one says that. I think that's a test to me to like try to correct it. So I did.
It's weird for people to say these things. And like for a couple of them, I never heard it before.
Sometimes I think stereotypes are funny. Like a lot of comedians use stereotypes to like make most of their comedy.
Comedy as a whole is usually used as a means to sort of communicate injustices that go on in society. Do you think that that's a valid way to talk about certain problems that are happening today?
Not really. At the end of the day, jokes are jokes, and you shouldn't get hurt from jokes, but people will.
How can we combat stereotypes just as a whole?
I feel like you kind of can't stop them because you can't stop what comes out of someone else's mouth. You just kind of have to show people that they're wrong and prove them wrong, because people don't. You can say something to somebody, but they're not going to believe it.
Not believing in them, not listening to them, realizing that not everything is as clean cut as it seems. There's no black and white, because you can't have black and white without gray.
See, that's kind of a tough question because I don't really think you can. Obviously, as we get older, we know that these things aren't true, so we'll stop passing those down. But there's really no way to combat it. You just kind of have to grow out of it and pass like better things on to the next generation.
Just be more aware of it. Like I said, be aware to your ignorance.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
I believe that as long as you hear a person's story, that everyone is just human. Everyone is created human. Everyone has the same 2 legs that you do. Maybe not the same shape, but everyone has 2 legs. Everyone has 2 arms for the most part. Everyone has a head. And then the rest is just flavor.